Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today is the end of February, which means tomorrow is the start of March, which means it's time for my monthly book wrap up and TBR. So I have a lot to talk about, so let's get into the wrap up. So the first books on my TBR were the Dead Is series, the third and fourth books, which I read in 2 days. This I read in one night, and then I started this as well and ended up finishing it the next day. These books pick up right where the last books left off. Daisy is growing up, college is coming, find out more about her dad and what happened to him. Is he alive? Is he dead? What is going on? And it focuses on some new supernatural creatures and characters. There is witches in these books, more werewolf stuff going on. You find out more about the secret society that is trying to kill off all of the people in the town. So for both of these books, I give them a 5 out of 5. They are great, quick little reads, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series and see where it all ends up when they go off to college. The next book that I read is Truly Devious, which I do not have with me because I took it home on my little vacation that I took, and I ended up reading it in like 3 days, I think. It took me a while to get into the book just because there's so much world building. Right when the book starts, it takes about 200 pages to really get in, but I could not stop reading once I got to page like probably 220. As soon as stuff really starts to pick up, I was like, this is it. Like, this book is so good. I can't wait to read The Vanishing Stairs. I'd definitely give it like, I guess I give like it a 4 stars just because it takes so long to get to like the meat, but I find that with a lot of books, so maybe it's just me, that I really don't care until like the climax or like the rising action, using all my literary vocabulary from 5th grade. But yeah, great book, totally worth the hype it has received. Next book I didn't even finish. I started reading it and I got 40 pages in and I literally threw the book down and was like, I'm done. This is Plus by Victoria Chambers, and I don't know, I think this book, when was it written? This book came out in 2009, and I think you can definitely tell it focuses a lot just on like people's looks and like her wanting to change her looks for a boy, and all of these things that I feel like just put really unhealthy ideas in your head. Like, she's like, the first 20 pages are basically like, how can she get this boy to sleep with her? How can she keep him after he breaks up with her? And then it just focuses on how much better looking everyone is than her and how much she's eating and all these things. So I just did not like it. It felt really kind of toxic and made me just feel icky. Like, I did not feel good about it. So, and just by reading the back, it seems like she doesn't really change much, and things just get catty, and she gains weight, and that makes everything better. She becomes a model, and that makes everything better. I don't know, it just seemed weird to me the way it was written. It just seems like if someone read this and they had like an eating disorder or had been in a toxic relationship, like, it's not good. It's not good. And this is like a YA book. Like, I got this in middle school and I never read it until now, and I'm really happy I didn't read it in middle school because it probably would have messed me up, because middle school Kaylin definitely would have been influenced by this book. The next book I read is Once Upon a Dream, which is a twisted tale by Liz Braswell. I already read A Whole New World, which is the one about Aladdin, and this one takes place in Sleeping Beauty. I was so confused for the first 100 pages as to what was going on. Like, you kind of think you know, and then you realize what's really going on. And this was great. Like, I would say probably the first 150 pages you really need to pay attention. Like, don't have the TV on, don't be listening to music. You really need to just like hone in on this book and read the first 150, and then after that, like, it's pretty smooth sailing. I thought it was gonna kind of be like the movie where it's like, oh, Maleficent is good, but she is way worse in this book than she is in any of the movies of Sleeping Beauty or Maleficent. This definitely paints her as the mistress of all evil that we know her to be, and I loved it. Maleficent's not in the book too much actually, but she does do things throughout the book that influence Aurora's journey and Philip's journey, and it's just a very interesting world that they build, and I can't wait to read the next one, which is As Old as Time, which is Beauty and the Beast one. So I'm very excited to see how that one goes, just because that story's pretty lovey-dovey, so I want to see if they just keep the Beast like terrible the whole time. Then there is Reflection and Part of Your World, and they're coming out with Mirror Mirror, which is about the evil queen from Snow White, so I am probably going to pre-order that book. So that concludes my wrap-up. Now let's get into the TBR. I only have 5 books here. Actually 3 books and 2 graphic novels, just because I have a lot to do for school right now, so I want to keep my reading pretty light and easy, I guess I would say, because all of these books were pretty short, but this one and Truly Devious I think are each over 400 pages. I think Truly Devious might be over 500 pages. So yeah, I definitely want to scale it back a little bit. So I have already started this book, so I kind of cheated a little bit. But last night I started reading The Wicked Deep, which if you watch any sort of bookish videos, you know that this book has been talked about at length. But in case you don't know and you are just on my channel, thank you. It is about 3 sisters who are witches who come to this town during the 1800s, during like the time of settlements, and basically they get tried for being witches because they make all the men, even the married ones, fall in love with them, and they drown them in the harbor. And then it takes you to now, it's 200 years later, and our character Penny has kind of taken in this drifter who, they're all in high school, and they have these crazy parties celebrating the sister's death, and each year 3 girls get possessed by the ghosts of the witches, and they end up drowning a boy every year. So I think, like, I kind of feel like I know where this is going just from starting reading it, but maybe not. And also Penny's dad disappeared 3 years prior, so I think this book is just a one-off. Like, I don't think it's a series. At least I haven't heard anybody talk about it as a series. It seems like it's going to be very fast-paced. I'm already on chapter 5, and we've already come to the point where someone's supposed to be taken over, so I'm just waiting to see who gets taken over and who dies. But yeah, so basically the town is cursed, and it's very Hocus Pocus-esque, but I love Hocus Pocus, so I'm going to be reading this. Another book I'm going to be reading, mainly because it is in my course load, is Solaris by Stanislaw Lem. Basically, this is a sci-fi novel, and it is about a psychologist who goes to a planet to study the ocean that covers its surface. So he ends up having kind of like a psychological breakdown, and that he is not really alone on the planet. So is it the planet? Is it the ocean? Is it him? I have to read this book for my one class, so I'm interested in reading it, and it's not too long. I think it'll actually be a pretty good book. It's only 204 pages, and the text is pretty big. So this may open up a whole new genre for me, since it is kind of sci-fi, I think, but I think this might be kind of a literary classic. I'm not sure, but we'll see how this goes. And the last actual book I have is a biography. This is by Sarah Churchwell, and it is The Many Lives of Marilyn Monroe. It is basically just more about Marilyn Monroe's life. I have The Secret Lives of Marilyn Monroe, and I read that for a class project. This one I just want to read for fun, and I'm not going to annotate it or anything, but it's just talking about the shame and the anxiety that Marilyn felt and living in the time that she did, being who she was. And then I got 2 new comic books. I also got The Heart Forger as part of the Bone Witch series, which I am not going to read until later on, but I want to let you guys know I got it, as well as these 2 graphic novels, comic books, whatever you want to call them. I got the next one in the Harley Quinn DC Rebirth, which I'm going to be perusing through and reading this month. And then I got the next installment of the DC Bombshells. So this is volume 2, and it talks a lot more about Batwoman, which I'm super excited about because she was not in the very last one very much, or the very last Bombshells series part. So I am very excited for all of that. So that is my wrap up and my TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are enjoying this little kind of segment of my channel of doing booktube. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.